Hi, this is Dorothy Smith, close to my heart independent consultant, and I am going after doing the layout one for the World is Yours workshop. And I had my organization video, which was, I don't know how organized it was, but I separated all the pieces in bags. And so this is the first bag of cut pieces. And so I've got my backgrounds ready. Those are the craft with the diagonal sheet, and I'm using my handy dandy close to my heart cutting mat. It's also, if you flip it over, it's also a stamping mat. It's got a real soft foam texture, which is perfect for stamping. So I'm putting a little piece of washi tape down in the corners so I can keep the paper straight and line up the various sheets that go on this. And so the next paper is like a mink gray, and there is supposed to be a 1/2 inch border on 3 edges, and the inside goes right to the very edge on each on the right hand and the left hand part. And I'm using the lighter side. I decided to use the lighter side of the cardstock. All of our cardstock has 2 shades, the original shade and then a shade lighter. So you have a choice of what you want to use. So it's coming down to 1/2 from the bottom and 1/2 from the top. And so I know, using my mat, I know that I've got it centered just right. And so I am putting the next piece here, which is the border, and it's a map, which is really neat looking. And I'm going to put a little espresso distressing on the edges just to make them stick out a little bit more against the mink background. I think Jennifer Smith is the one who designed all of these layouts, and it looked to me like she inked all of the pieces. And I don't do a whole lot of distressing. That used to be something we did all the time, but I don't distress much anymore. But this one just kind of called for some distressing just to make the edges pop a little bit. And so I'm going right on the inside of the mink edge there. So there's only about, maybe not even 1/4 inch gap around the edges. And the one the zip strip is the 1/2 inch piece there. But there's a 1/4 inch espresso brown strip that goes right next to the map, and this is going to help make it stand out more. See, it really makes it pop. And then you've got the sage zip strip that's right next to it, butted up to the 1/4 inch espresso strip. So I'm just mostly visually going by the instructions. I would suggest, if you do these layouts, when you get the instructions, read over before you start doing after you put all your pieces in their separate bags, then read the instructions before you start doing the layout, so that you kind of know what's coming next. And so I did distress that peach background there to make it stand out a little bit. And I'm not going to distress the paper. That's kind of a placeholder for a picture, and so I'm not going to worry about distressing the placeholders for the pictures. So there's a lot of pieces to this, but it's not as hard as you might think. And so I cut a strip of the espresso, and that's a background for one of the stickers. And I cut it too long. Don't know how I did that, but I'm just going to trim that bottom part off. And it says, "This is the life." So there's just a hair of an edge around the sticker to make it stand out, and then there's a circle that goes on the peach background. And so I'm putting a little espresso distress on the circle just to give it kind of a finished looking edge and to make it show up more on the mint gray. And so the camera goes on, but I decided, I pulled it off, but I'm going to put foam circles, double stick foam circles on the back of the camera to make it stick up, to give it some dimension. So "This is the life" is going to go down there flat, and then the other pieces will have some dimension to them. And so my camera is going to get the foam circles, the double stick foam circles. And we have these in our tool section of the catalog, along with the Tombow adhesive that I use so much of. And you know, I really use a lot of these circles. I really like the dimensional circles. So the camera's going to go there, popped up. And then the other pieces are, I thought I was going to have to do some stamping, but as it turns out, there's all sorts of pieces that are part of that 12 by 12 inch sticker sheet. So we got lots of stickers with this layout. And so even though the layouts have a lot of pieces to them and they look complicated, you know, as it turns out, it wasn't terrifically complicated. Nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Of course, this is just the first layout, so we'll see how it goes after that. I would also suggest, before you start, you know, make sure, you know, double check yourself to make sure you've got all the pieces that you need. So I'm going to put the branch under the camera, and you know, so you've got, you know, 3 layers going there, which, you know, really adds a lot of interest to the paper. Now, this sage color paper is real pretty, but then it gets even more elegant looking with the vellum that goes over it. And so I'm not going to worry too much about the fact that I'm not using specific vellum glue here, because there's going to be a 4x6 picture holder going on top, covering my glue spots. So the vellum is just going to stick out on the edges. So that's why I didn't worry about that too much. I have vellum glue someplace amongst so much stuff. It's not even funny. This little strip is also a zip strip. Now the zip strip, it's got little bicycles. How cute is that, right? The zip strips are a 1/2 inch border on one end of our background and texture papers. And so it gives you, when you cut those off, just like the sage going next to the map, you know, you have another little border to add more interest to your page. And so the little bicycle goes down at the bottom of that picture group. And then there's the arrow. What does the arrow say? I forgot what the arrow says. Here we go. That's what the arrow says. And I did put a little edge of distressing around the arrow to make it stand out a little bit from the peach. You know, we've got a lot of mink color here, the pale gray. And so making the border distressed really helps to make the different elements stand out. So I am starting on the second side. I finished the first side. See, that wasn't bad. I mean, I do have my video speeded up a little bit, but that really wasn't too bad. Okay, so I'm putting down the second background, and once again I'm using the washi tape to hold the background in place. So I'm getting ready to put my mink cardstock down. And y'all know that the washi tape has got such a light hold to it that it doesn't distress the paper when you pull it up. So I'm almost making a mistake here, because I'm putting the mink down on the same side as the left-hand page. But this is the right-hand page, so it needs to go on the other end. See, so that the two mink pages are gonna come together. So, oops. Got to pay attention to what you're doing, is what it comes down to. So I put my washi tape, reposition it to get it really straight. And that's so that when I put it on the 1/2 inch, it will line up with the other side, the left-hand side of the layout. So I've got a 1/2 inch border going on the 3 sides there, and I go ahead and put some Tombow on my map strip, which is on the right-hand side of the paper, and I'm putting the distress on 3 sides. I don't need it on that 4th side because the espresso 1/4 inch strip will add the dark brown emphasis to that side of the map. I do like these cute maps. So, you know, as you can imagine, with summer right here around the corner, I mean, the kids in Texas here just finished school, and, you know, everybody's going to be getting ready to go on vacation. So here you've got a map and outdoorsy colors with blues and greens and peach, and, you know, these are great for your vacation photos, or if your kids are going to summer camp, it's perfect for summer camp. Or if anybody's going to be doing any kind of hiking or camping or any kind of outdoors type activities, you know, these pages are just so ready to go to fill up with pictures for the summer. So I hope that you take advantage of these papers, since it's only here for the month of May. I wish they'd be around for a little bit longer, because they're really, really beautiful papers. So this other side here, once again, it's the sage background with the vellum branches going on top of the sage. That is so, so pretty. I mean, just it just screams outside, doesn't it? I mean, I love it. Ooh, that's so pretty. Ooh, I love it. Okay, so I'm just not measuring a whole lot. I mean, we didn't get a lot of measurements, you know, coming down 1 1/4 inches from the top or anything. So just kind of eyeball. The most important thing is to make sure that you're even, that it's level. And so I'm just using a ruler, and I'm going from 3/4 inch in from the 0 mark or the 12 mark to make sure that my paper is straight. So this close to my heart layout mat is really perfect for doing your pages and trying to keep everything, you know, somewhat straight. So one of the stickers calls for journaling, but those sunglasses aren't part of that journaling card, and so I realized that. And so I cut off the sunglasses. That could be used for something else. It's a sticker. I'm just going to put it right back on the sticker sheet. And go ahead and I'll stick down the lines on the peach cardstock. So, and then there's another strip of the little bikes, and it actually gets, it will stand out because it's going on a background of espresso that is just a tad thicker, wider, I guess I should say, than the bicycle strip. So the zip strips are 1/2 inch. So this is probably, I don't even know if it's 3/4 inch. It might be just like 5/8 inch. And so that's going to stick down at the bottom of the journaling card. Very cute, right? I makes the bike stick out. It's just too cute for words. Okay, so I'm putting the 3x4 picture placeholders around the sage background there. And, you know, like I said, I'm not going to add any distressing to that, and I'm kind of eyeballing, for the most part, to make things parallel with each other. So it just works perfectly with that peach journaling card. That's really, I love that journaling card. I really love that journaling card. Okay, so let me put the last picture holder down. So when you're doing your pictures, you're going to have 3x4 pictures, or if you have mostly we get 4x6s, right? So you can trim down your 4x6 and cut out any extraneous stuff in the picture to get the most important part and bring it to a 3x4. Or you could just get them printed, your pictures printed 3x4 if you wanted to. But what I've learned doing the stories by Stacy is she's really big on taking your pictures and trimming out the extraneous stuff that kind of pulls your eye away from the most important center part of the photo, whatever is the main importance of each photo. So she really is making me more aware of doing that. So then there's another little sticker with a heart on it, and I did trim that in, distress it in the espresso ink, and then there's a nice curved arrow that goes under, it gets tucked under the little heart. And so it's kind of like saying, here, look at this picture. These words go with this picture. So for the most part, the page is done. Now we've got an element of interest that's going to go over on the lower right-hand side. So this kind of is diagonal to the upper left-hand side on the first page. And so they kind of counterbalance each other. And so there's going to be some detailing that goes down in this lower corner that you'll see that I build it as I go along. And it's going to be all stickers. There's going to be one circle that goes down there, and then I put the various stickers onto the circle. So I'm going to distress that circle to make it stand out against the mink background. And the little house is going to go on that circle. And what else goes on there? I think some trees and maybe a sailboat. So there's just going to be a little batch of interesting things that you might see and do or come across when you're on a vacation. And that's going to be down in that that little area, its own little area of interest. And I'm also going to take some silver thread and wrap it around my finger and make some circles and tuck it under that circle. So you'll see me do that in just a little bit. So I'm going to put the circle down flat, and I've got the sailboat sticking up with a foam dot. And then I'm also going to put a foam dot on under the trees, so they're going to pop up a little bit. So you're going to get a little shadowing effect and a little dimensional effect on there that just adds so much more interest than if everything is flat. So the Explorer is also going to get a little tree on. I love those little trees. They're so cute. So here's my silver threading. And when you look at the instructions, it's kind of hard to see that silver thread. Fortunately, she's got the information in the instructions. And so what you might want to do is, when you're making your circle, to attach the silver thread under the circle and then lay the circle down. So what I'm doing is taking a foam dot and kind of grabbing the lower loops of the thread and kind of tuck it under my circle. So, and you know, I'd probably spread those circles out a little bit so that they're not all lined up with each other, just to add a little slight amount of chaos to those circles. You don't want them to be all neat and perfect. So the last thing that, last little elements that go on the pages are some little sequins. And so if you have some sequins, great. I have some leftover pieces. Don't know where maybe they ended up in the wrong bag. And here I thought I was being so careful, right? So I'm going to put a few sequins at the bottom of the circle and on top of the circle over on the left-hand page. So I think I forgot. See, I didn't bring my sequins with me when I was putting everything together. So I had to run off and get my sequins. But anyway, I really hope that you try to get some of these papers before the end of the month. I really love the way this layout is working out, and I'm going to, as soon as I finish this layout and edit this video, then I'm going to start on the second one. So if you get the papers, then you can do the layout you know, at another time, but these videos will be out there for you to watch and see how things came together. So there's my sequins, and I'm using, it's a package of bronze sequins, and so I'm just using the little silver ones. The bronze would look actually great with these layouts also, and I'll probably use some of those sequins on the later layouts that I do. But the bronze and the brown ones would be wonderful on these layouts. And so I'm just putting a few little sparkles here and there, and I'll put a bigger sequin on my lens just to give it some interest, because it's kind of boring looking the way it is right now. So there we go. Big old sequin on my lens. So I really like the way these pages came out. I hope you do too. The instructions weren't, you know, horrible to deal with, but I did need to read them first before I started putting them together. So here's my layout 1 for The World Is Yours. I enjoyed putting it together. I hope you like the video. You know, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every person who watches my videos. I really appreciate you. And thanks for subscribing to my channel. Y'all take care. Bye now.